This is a blockbuster in the film industry. When it was released, no one in the theater could make it to the end. It's the only movie that beautifully portrays romantic love and family bonds. Depicted amazingly, it's the top tearjerker among the 4 major Korean films. A movie only men can sit through until the end. Even though the 8-year-old boy still doesn't understand what death means, he never misses a single weather report because his mom told him a fairy tale before she left. But the thing is, this fairy tale actually happened in real life. There's a legend that says beneath the sky of heaven, there's a land of clouds, a temporary home for souls who have left this world. And every time the rainy season comes, they board a train made of raindrops, traveling through the sea of clouds back to the world, just to see the people they love the most again. Jin-woo believes this story. The rainy season was coming. Leon excitedly shared the good news with his dad. "Dad, are you happy? The rainy season is here. Mom will come back soon." Not wanting to shatter his son's fairy tale dreams, Jin-woo just gently agreed with his son's innocent hope. But not long after, the rainy season really did arrive, just as promised. Outside, gentle raindrops tapped on the window, like Mom's promise she'd never forget. They woke Ji-ho, dozing. He believed this was his mom's call, reaching out. "Dad, it's raining. I'll pick up Mom." Before Dad woke, Jin-woo dashed out like the wind. That little figure carried an endless longing for his mom. In the rain, he became especially brave. Jin-woo could only follow closely behind to keep the boy safe, but Ji-ho searched every corner of the station and still couldn't find any sign of his mom. Seeing how disappointed his son looked, Jin-woo had no choice but to turn the truth into a gentle lie. "Mom's busy with work today. Let's come back next time, okay?" However, on their way back, Jin-woo noticed something strange in the tunnel ahead. He instinctively stopped. "Oh, there's Mom." Faced with this danger, Jin-woo quickly hid his son by the road, ready to check things out. But Ji-ho, eager to see his mom, ended up following him. The closer they got, the clearer that familiar figure became. Jin-woo's pupils suddenly contracted. The umbrella handle dug into his palm, but it was nothing compared to the thunderous pounding in his chest. This was his wife, returned from the boundary between life and death. Maybe she was a ghost. But even if she was still his child's mother. Before his dad could react, Ji-ho bravely rushed forward. "Mom, don't touch her. You can't touch her. Mom." As the woman slowly lifted her head, Jin-woo immediately panicked and dropped to his knees. "Look, is that really Mom? Who are you?" It was obvious this woman had lost her memory. She didn't even know why she was here. Jin-woo slapped himself hard on the cheek. The sharp pain convinced him that this wasn't a dream. Full of doubt and happiness, the father and son brought the woman straight home. As soon as they got inside, Ji-ho pulled out a photo, hoping it would help bring back his mom's lost memories. But just as he was about to tell the fairy tale about the land of clouds, his dad quickly stopped him. Jin-woo picked up his son and took him to the bathroom, promising him that from now on, they wouldn't mention the land of clouds in front of his mom. That way, maybe Mom would never leave again. But fate is cruel and not so easy to change. Late at night, Jin-woo couldn't sleep. He quietly slipped into the room where his wife and son were sleeping, gently placed his finger under his wife's nose to feel her breath, afraid that she might leave them again. Sua's return brought warmth back to the father and son. But the woman standing before them was completely different from the wife he once knew. That day, Jin-woo took Ji-ho to school, but as soon as they started walking, Ji-ho secretly turned back, wanting to be with his mom after such a long time apart. Jin-woo decided to skip school. As soon as he walked through the door, he heard his son crying out in distress. "Don't worry, Dad. We were just playing around." But Jin-woo's nose was bleeding because Sua accidentally hit him. What puzzled him even more was that the rice cakes his wife used to make were always delicious. But now, even though she made them herself, they turned out a mess. Seeing the hot oil splattering in the pan, Jin-woo quickly used his body to shield his wife. In that moment, Sua suddenly felt a warm sense of love, but Jin-woo's back was already burned, leaving several scars. Sua also took care to apply ointment for him. A touching and bumpy memory gently surfaced in her heart. Turns out, the two of them had been connected by fate since high school, forming a bond that couldn't really be explained. Back then, Sua was the goddess in every guy's eyes. She just couldn't help but be beautiful and charming. Even when it came to studying, she was always at the top of the school, but she ended up nearly drowning during a swimming class. Yet after struggling for a while, she miraculously resurfaced. It turned out Jin-woo had saved her in a special way underwater, which left all their classmates amazed. "Thank you From that moment on, Jinwoo's innocent youth was completely shattered. He started to fall madly in love with Suwa. His good friend Dae Sam noticed how he felt. He decided to give him a hand. First, he helped Jinwoo analyze their faith by counting the strokes in their names. But the data showed that Sue's feelings for him were way stronger than his feelings for her. This made Jinwoo instantly feel insecure. Dae San told him to pretend to look for Sue the next day and asked to borrow a pen as an excuse to talk to her. In this imaginative plan from his advisor, Jinwoo started to feel more confident. The next day, he followed the plan. "Hey Sue, do you have an extra pen?" "No, I don't." Even though the plan failed, Dae San immediately devised a more sophisticated plan. He predicted that, as she was a top student, she is smart. Smart people have developed right brains, usually left-handed. So, when you dance later, just pretend to be left-handed. He followed the plan and deliberately danced with awkward steps. Sure enough, the teacher immediately called him out. "Jinwoo, come here. Can you show us how to do it right?" "Sorry, I'm left-handed." That's what you call an awkward dancer. You guys keep going. However, just when Jinwoo thought his plan had failed again, the teacher hit the pause button. "Sue, are you left-handed too? Alright, can you dance with Jinwoo today then?" The mastermind's brilliant plan actually worked, but Jinwoo had absolutely no idea how to face the goddess of his dreams. He was so nervous that he couldn't even look at her. With the strategist's guidance, he finally managed to slowly glance over at Suwa, but that unexplainable excitement made his whole body stiffen up. "It's okay. This awkward scene just made their classmates burst out laughing. For the next 3 years of high school, the two of them didn't say a single word to each other. But on graduation day, everything took a turn. Suwa suddenly walked up to Jinwoo, holding out her yearbook. "Do you want to write something?" Jinwoo quickly wrote a message, taking it seriously, but he accidentally left his pen inside her yearbook. But that ended up being the only reason he had to reach out to Suwa later on. They ended up getting into different universities. Jinwoo called Suwa many times, but every time the call connected, he would immediately hang up. It went on like that until one day, after graduating from college, he found himself at the post office again. But this time, Daesang decided to give him a hand. "Come on, be brave." It's Jinwoo, class 253. Faced with a situation like that, Jinwoo just awkwardly kept the call going. "Did you take my pen?" That pen was actually pretty expensive. But even with that silly excuse, Suwa still invited him to meet at the old school gate. But after getting the pen back from Suwa, Jinwoo just bluntly said goodbye. This immediately took Suwa by surprise. After that, she stormed off angrily. Luckily, Jinwoo reacted just in time and invited her out to eat. And just like that, the two of them finally had their first date. After years apart, they slowly started to get close again, but time quickly slipped by until midnight, and Suwa ended up waiting for the last bus. But before she could settle into her seat, she saw Jinwoo recklessly chasing her. "Driver, please stop the second, wait for me." "Suwa, hey, can I write you a letter?" She gazed intently at the man in front of her, who seemed a bit awkward, but was so genuine and straightforward. Suwa's heart was overflowing with emotion. Slowly, with a gentle expression, she turned toward him and wiped away the rain still dripping from her forehead. In that very moment, the seeds of love were quietly planted. Thinking back on the beautiful past they once shared, both of them laughed out loud, as if basking in a spring breeze. From then on, Jinwoo always kept an eye on the weather forecast, afraid that his wife might leave him again. But fate didn't seem to have any special favors in store for them. During the day, Jinwoo cheerfully poured all his energy into work, and in the evenings, he would share stories of their past memories with his wife. Sue was swept up in these sweet emotions, and she couldn't help but slip her hand into Jinwoo's pocket, as if rekindling their long-lost love in that very moment. And on this very day, the whole family of three went out to the countryside to have some fun. They played together in the crystal clear water, laughter bubbling up with every splash, and then they made heartfelt wishes by the pile of stones. They hoped that their family would always stay this happy. On the way home, Jinwoo steadily carried his wife and son on his back. They were all lost in this warm moment, as if wanting to etch the sweetness of it deep into their hearts, so it would never fade away. But as soon as they stepped through the door, Jinwoo collapsed onto the floor. "Dad?" As soon as he showed a bit of improvement, his wife anxiously asked how he was doing. Immediately, Jinwoo was reminded of many years ago. After the two of them made their relationship official, Jinwoo did everything he could to give Suwa a better future. He pushed himself to the limit, making the most of his swimming abilities, hoping to be selected for the national swim team. But during intense training, he suddenly passed out at the pool. All his hopes and dreams shattered the moment he collapsed. After several thorough examinations, the doctor finally discovered that the part of his brain that controls hormone secretion had a problem. Even a little fatigue or emotional stress could cause him to faint for a short period. On top of that, this condition is something he'll likely have to live with for the rest of his life. This heavy blow dragged Jinwoo into a deep, endless darkness. He didn't want to become a burden to Suwa, so he decided to break up with her. "Let's not see each other anymore," he said. Suwa turned and walked away, while Jinwoo felt like he was falling into an abyss, crying his heart out in utter despair. But after that, his longing for her clung to him like vines, weighing down his heart like a heavy stone. In the end, he just couldn't bear the pain of this heartbreak anymore. Jinwoo secretly went to the city where Suwa was living. He just wanted to hide in the shadows, to sneak a glance at her and ease his longing a little. When he saw Suwa getting into another man's car, a strange sense of peace suddenly washed over his heart. He thought they'd never see each other again in this lifetime. But half a year later, Jinwoo suddenly got a call from Suwa. They agreed to meet at the train station. As soon as they saw each other, Suwa ran straight into Jinwoo's arms without a moment's hesitation. This sudden move left Jinwoo at a loss for what to do. But the love he had kept bottled up inside made him instinctively hold her tightly in his arms. In the end, the two of them walked hand in hand into the wedding hall, ready to embrace their love story full of twists and turns. Tears welled up in Suwa's eyes, and she quietly leaned into Jinwoo's embrace. In this moment, she truly understood the past and felt deeply connected to this happy family. But right in the middle of this warm moment, the weather forecast came on the TV. It broke the peace. Rainy season will end in a week. Jinwoo quickly rushed over to turn off the TV, but the secret that he and his daughter were about to forget suddenly filled their hearts again. The end of the rainy season also means Suwa will have to leave, and to make things worse, while cleaning the house, Suwa accidentally found a notebook. In it, she discovered the truth, that she had died. Jinwoo's comic book was like a key, helping her see the secrets buried deep in her husband and son's hearts. In that moment, she suddenly understood. She realized why she had appeared in such a strange way. When night fell, Suwa would quietly watch old videos of her husband and son, reliving the warm, happy images of their family together. But at the same time, these moments felt like a cold, sharp blade piercing straight into her heart. It was the ache of missing her loved ones, mixed with a deep, heartbreaking regret. From then on, Suwa seemed to become a completely different person, unusually busy all the time. She taught her son the little things in life, showing him how to wash his clothes, sharing cleaning tips, and detailing every step of bathing. She was eager and patient, even with cooking, which wasn't for his age. She just wanted to ensure that after she was gone, he'd be able to care for himself. One day, Jinwoo suddenly got a strange phone call. When he rushed over, he found out that his son had washed a classmate's car, but he'd used a steel scrubber to clean it. Jinwoo was really puzzled by what his son had done. But no matter how he asked, Jiho just wouldn't say why he did it. The classmate's mom thought Jinwoo had some psychological issues. A kid without a mom, well, you could kind of see it. On the way home, Jinwoo couldn't hold back and scolded Jiho again. "That was a good thing you did." Bin said that his dad's car always rains right after it gets washed. Mom's not going to leave again, right? If Dad and I both hold on tight to Mom, will that work? If we keep Mom from going anywhere, will that be okay? Hearing his son's heartbreaking words, Jinwoo couldn't hold back anymore and hugged him tightly. It's not like he didn't try those things to keep his wife, he just ended up doing things to comfort himself. So it turns out that last night, he called Dae-san over in the middle of the night and used tree branches to block up that shop. He hoped he could block his wife's way back, but a heavy rain washed away all his efforts. It was only then that he realized both father and son had to bravely face reality. Today is Jinwoo's birthday. The whole family of 3 gathers together, capturing these happy moments. They sing a birthday song and send their best wishes to their son. But as they sing, they can't help but have tears in their eyes. They wish this wonderful moment could last forever. Today, Jinwoo's school is holding a music event and has invited all the parents to join in. But as soon as she stepped outside, Suwa noticed the rain had stopped, and gentle rays of sunlight felt like a call from the land of clouds. She had promised to take part in her son's activity. She stood by the roadside, unsure of what choice to make. Meanwhile, Jinwoo was about to leave work when he saw someone drowning in the pool. Without thinking, he jumped in to save. He forgot he has a tendency to faint when he exerts himself too much. The school performance had started, but Jinwoo hadn't seen his parents. His eyes were full of disappointment, and he couldn't even focus on his class's choir performance. Finally, Suwa came running in. Wanting to keep her promise to her son, she didn't think twice. When she saw Jinwoo didn't fit in on stage, her heart was filled with pain and worry. Then, classmates excitedly shared their dreams. Some wanted to sing, dance, become stars. Some played soccer, determined to join the national team. When it was Jinwoo's turn, he hesitated and wouldn't say. Students looked at him with curious eyes. The audience below the stage started whispering among themselves. This was a performance they'd already practiced. At that moment, he saw his mom in the audience. That gave Jinwoo the courage to take a step forward. I'm good at running. I'm good at cleaning up too. The vacuum cleaner can't be set to its highest power. Otherwise, the dust won't get cleaned up properly. I'm also good at shaking out laundry. You have to shake the clothes hard before hanging them up to dry. I'm good at washing my hair. When you wash your hair, use your fingertips, not your nails. I'm good at cooking too. When frying eggs, you have to use low heat. After cracking the egg, you need to separate it gently. If you're too rough, it'll break. I promise I'll take good care of my dad. That's a promise between me and my mom. Jinwoo didn't stick to the script they practiced, but the audience responded with the warmest applause. His words really touched the hearts of everyone there. As for Suwa, she cried so hard she couldn't even make a sound. She knew this was a promise her son was making to her. The blazing sunlight broke through the clouds, shining down on Suwa. It felt like a silent call just for her. As soon as school was over, Jinwoo ran home like crazy. Sweat soaked through his shirt, but he still couldn't find any sign of his mom. When he saw the book she left on the table, he knew his mom must have gone out, so he hurried outside to look for her. Meanwhile, Jinwoo had just woken up. He asked for the ambulance to stop. He hopped on his bike and rushed toward the tunnel. At the same time, Suwa had already arrived at the tunnel. She walked slowly. It seemed like every step she took was filled with endless regret. Just then, Jinwoo's voice called out from behind. Jinwoo ran quickly toward his mom, hugging her tightly, not wanting to let go. Suwa could only gently comfort her son. Mom, I'm sorry. What? Why are you apologizing? Mom got sick and is leaving because of me, because she gave birth to me. What are you saying? Who told you that? I heard the relatives say that. After you had me, you got sick. That's not true. I'm really happy to have Ji-ho. If it weren't for you, I could have stayed with Dad longer. Ji-ho, that's absolutely not true. What her son understood just made Suwa even more heartbroken. She tried to hold back her pain and did her best to explain. She tried to soothe the hurt in her son's heart. Jinwoo was exhausted, at his limit. His illness flared. He collapsed. All he wanted was to see his wife one last time. But his body wouldn't cooperate. His heart's longing called out once more. In the end, Jinwoo managed to get back up. Suwa. Finally, he took heavy steps into the tunnel. Ji-ho's voice broke the silence in the tunnel. The two of them just stared at each other. It felt like time stopped in that moment. There were no hugs, no words, but their eyes were full of deep affection and longing. This was their final affirmation of each other's feelings. With a nod from Jinwoo, Suwa slowly faded away right there. In the days that followed, Jinwoo learned how to make breakfast. The father and son faced life head-on together. It was their promise to the person they loved most. But then, one day, Jinwoo happened to find the diary that Suwa had left behind. It also revealed a secret he never knew. It was a rainy day. Suwa walked alone, umbrella in hand, through a narrow alley. Then, a tall guy approached. He politely stepped aside. A glance, Suo was taken by his looks, heart skipped a beat. One look, she liked him. Surprised her, they ended up in class. To get closer to him, Suo decided to sign up for swimming lessons, but she didn't expect to almost drown in the pool. Luckily, in that dangerous moment, a friend stepped in and saved her. She tried to guess if he liked her by counting strokes in their names, but the result disappointed her. The guy asked to borrow her pen. Excited, she blurted out she didn't have one. She regretted it. She's a strong heart. Dance, when she found he was left-footed, she pretended to be left-footed. She got into the same class as him. Her emotions led to an awkward moment, leaving her stuck in a pit of failure. She didn't dare look him in the eye again. It wasn't until graduation day she finally worked up the courage, using the noisy atmosphere as cover, to hand him her yearbook. When she saw him drop his pen, her heart bloomed with happiness, because she finally had a reason to reach out to him. But every time she wanted to contact him, she hesitated at the last minute. It wasn't until many years later, when she picked up her phone again, that she happened to get a call from him. Suo tried to stay calm, but inside, she was already so excited she could barely put it into words. She arranged to meet him at the old school gate, but after Jinwoo got his pen back, he just said goodbye. That left her disappointed. When Jinwoo called her back, she felt happy. With attention on him, she made her relationship with Jinwoo official. As she was falling for him, Jinwoo suddenly suggested they break up. That night, she cried, her pillow soaked. She saw Jinwoo in his cousin's car. She felt sure that he still loved her, so she took a chance and ran after him. She had a serious accident. When she woke, she was shocked to find transported 8 years into the future. She met her husband and her 8-year-old son. She lost her memories, but with Jinwoo and her son by her side, she found the warmth of family again. And once more, she fell in love with Jinwoo. But if it was all just a dream, then eventually she would wake up. When she opened her eyes again, she realized she had been in a coma at the hospital for a long time. She thought everything was just a dream, but as time went by, the scenes from her dream started to feel more and more real. She even started seeing real-life images from her dream in reality. Suo began to believe that the future she saw in her dream might actually come true, that she could marry Jinwoo and have a smart, adorable son. But she would also pass away from illness at the age of 32. If she didn't go looking for Jinwoo to marry him, and chose someone else instead, then she wouldn't live out the life from her dream, and she also wouldn't die at 32. But she didn't hesitate at all, she was still determined to call Jinwoo. Because she felt that the reason she survived the accident was definitely because Jinwoo and their future son were waiting for her. Suwei, don't worry. We'll live a good life, let's just decide on that. There's a kind of love where you know exactly how it will end, but you still rush toward it like a moth to a flame, without any hesitation. Maybe we can't walk hand in hand through a long, endless life together. But I'm willing to give you the most passionate and sincere love, to share with you this brilliant chapter that fate has written for us. Even though I know my love for you has its limits, I'm still ready to give you all my tenderness, not wishing for it to last forever, just hoping that in the days we're together, our love can shine as brightly as the stars. In the movie, we witnessed a deep love that transcended life, death, and time. It's not about passion, but responsibility, holding with perseverance and giving all regretless. The film shows love in its pure form. Its steadfastness moves and reflects. This isn't a love story, it's a fable of family, responsibility, cherishing, and letting go. It helps appreciate those beside us, see its present, and understand that love is companionship and perseverance, like a flowing stream. I'm Saizo from Review Film. Thanks for sticking with me. See you in the next video.